Yep.
Okay. 1 second. There's been a lot of martini drinking on the last 5 days. The bestie's been here. So to say I'm a bit dehydrated is a little bit of an understatement.
Someone recommended that we,
recording.
like, if we want people to come on at the end, maybe we can ask them a question now that they can think about and then answer it at the end.
Yeah, do it. Do you have anything in mind?
Well, since we're talking about selling a physical product, maybe we can talk about, maybe we can ask them, like, what physical product that you've seen sold online, do you like their strategy? And maybe we can get some ideas from those.
Love it.
So think about if it could be anything. Like, I love Subaru's ads, or it could be M&M's or whatever it might be. And maybe we can talk about it at the end.
I'm going to throw Zappos in the pot because they have amazing free shipping and free returns for a year. Love it. Anyway, so if you guys want to hop on with us at the end, we're always trying to hone our structure and the format of this. So again, we're going to talk about selling tangible products, and we're diving into Teresa Morgan's blog. She wasn't able to join us today, so she's not going to be jumping on. It's upside down.
I did it upside down. Lovely.
Yeah.
All right.
825mainproducts.com is Teresa's website. That's what we're going to be diving in today. And also, one last thing, if you guys can do us a favor and either tweet a little bird or share this on Facebook at any point during the show to help us get this show out there and help some more peeps with what we're doing. So anyway, that's enough blab, or not blab, but blaboon. So let me read really quick Teresa's story and goal and overall dream, and then we'll dive into some talking points. So she grew into and later managed a family-run business for 50 years, and then they ended up closing that business. But I love this part of the story. She could not let her immigrant father's dream of, spreading the word about his Italian cooking and sauces and all that good stuff. So she couldn't bear the thought of not carrying on that dream. So what she did was create this website, and she shares their sauce recipes and different Italian dish recipes and really the culture of Italy, which I love because I'm Italian. So her goal is to really understand, to share her understanding and love for cooking on the Italian side of thing, and to share her sauces and cookbooks with peeps. And her struggle is really getting her name out there, getting known, getting people over to the website, and really becoming an integral part of, Italian cooking online. So her dream is to be able to share all of her recipes and sauces and create more and more ways for people to really enjoy the Italian culture and bring their family together, which is so much of what the Italian culture is about. So let's dive in, shall we, Danielle?
Let's do it.
All right. So first talking point I wanted us to tackle is really the difference between a brand that's selling a digital product or e-product and services opposed to tangible products, physical products. So the first, for me, Danielle, and pipe in at any time, for me, there's two distinct differences, right? The one is your shopping cart, the logistics side of it, right? I mean, services are a lot easier. A lot of us use just PayPal. It's free. It's less. When you're selling a product, there's a lot more touch points you need, right? You need to be confirming shipping. You need to be confirming the order. You need to be confirming if there's any customizations. You've got to have shipping options. So there's a lot more. You need a hefty shopping cart, and you have to really have the process honed from the time that they, want to add the product to the shopping cart. And I see a lot of a lot of brands selling products that their shopping carts suck ass, and you're going to lose people, right? I mean, they have to feel safe. It has to be easy. And that means that you're going to need to invest in a shopping cart or do something like, I know Diane's in here from how do you say it? Philosophy. But she has an Etsy shop. So something like that'll work too. You can get your products on Amazon. You can get them on Etsy. There's so many different platforms that will help you so that you're not hosting your own shopping cart. And then the second point is really that, and I want you to talk about this, Daniela, but the niche lends itself a lot more naturally for a product. For instance, on Teresa's, she's about Italian cooking. There's not a whole lot of need. Whereas, branding or blogging, and you really need to niche down to some super specific area of what you're doing. I feel like physical products lend themselves to a niche a lot easier. What do you think, Daniela?
I think I agree, but I also think that it's helpful, since there are so many tomato sauces out there, to actually maybe not have a specific niche, but have a specific brand story that connects people to the sauce. And I also think it's harder to give a taste of a physical product. Like what we do, we can give, if we're teaching an e-course or coaching, like this is a taste of our coaching, for example. But unfortunately, she can't give a taste of her sauce. So I think that physical product sellers will probably have to figure that out more than someone who sells ideas or coaching or something like that. Does that make sense?
The burden's a little bit, the burden's a little bit greater to really sell it without being able to have samples. And I love that you said the story. And that's why I think Teresa's on the right track, and she really needs to capitalize on the story about her parents coming over here from Italy and having this dream and opening up this restaurant, and her carrying that. I mean, I think that in and of itself is so great. And that's such a huge part of Italian culture, is the family and family gathered around food. So I think it lends itself so beautifully. And I think that you nailed it. Like, she really needs to make this kind of a family run brand still, and give that feel, and not have this be, more corporate where she's going to be selling it, in a Safeway or something like a ragu. Really make this a homegrown kind of brand. So I completely agree with that.
And then one other thing that I think with physical products is that there's more on the line, because if you create a digital product, you can, first of all, you can sell it as many times as you want without creating another one. So you don't have as much expenses. But then with the physical product, especially food, like she's selling, if you make them and then you don't sell it, you actually lose money because you've put the supplies into it. So I don't know how that works into the branding, but I just wanted to put that out there, because I think that with digital, people who are selling digital products, we have the luxury of doing a lot of experimentation. And if that doesn't work, we just toss it out and do something else. Whereas if you have a sauce or something physical, I think that there's more on the line with it. There's more to lose.
And you have to focus on scaling, because you're right. I mean, if you go from 5 orders a week to 500, you have to make sure that you have everything in line, that you can produce that. And there is, you're right, there is a lot more upfront expense, and you have to be a lot more diligent about making sure that your cost of goods are low so that you profit, because there is a smaller margin of profit on a tangible product, or on a lot of tangible products, opposed to our services. I mean, a lot of us we do the whole pre-sale of the course, right? Or pre-sale of a product, and we don't even create that shit until we know people are going to buy it. And so the burden definitely heavier on the tangible product side. And I hope if Dan has a couple minutes, he can pop on, because he actually is on the branding side, and he focuses on people with products, with tangible products. And I'd love to hear him talk about that. So if you have time, Dan,
that would be great.
So IREP Wellness is asking, are you guys looking for low risk ventures? I'm not sure what you mean by that, bro. So we're not looking for any ventures. We're talking about selling a tangible product in terms of branding and blogging and marketing, and what the differences are and what it really requires, and the different kind of things that you really need to be vigilant of on the product side of business. And Dan is saying maybe he will pop on.
That would be great.
Yeah. All right, so I know, because he is seriously the product man. All right, so let's talk about creating the experience. Okay, so any product, right, whether you're digital or tangible, you need to create an experience. And that's what kind of you were talking about, Daniel, about telling a story, making it really understanding the human behind the brand, and creating something where they go and have an experience, right? Because they're not going to buy your sauce until they understand what it's about, until they can build a bond and a trust with your brand. And especially something where, you know, you're going to be feeding your family this stuff. Like there has to be connection between your readers and customers and your brand. So let's talk about the different elements and the different ways that you can create an experience on your website through your content and through your you know, your correspondence with people. So let's tackle photography, because photography is huge on the tangible product side, whereas not so much for the digital, right? We may, on the digital side, you may need to get a 3D looking guide, you know, if you're selling an ebook or something like that. But a tangible product is no bullshit. You cannot skimp on the photography, and it cannot be janky photography. So do you have any tips on that, Daniela? And then I'll kind of share what I think. But on the photography side,
I'm not a photographer. I photographed a lot of cupcakes in the last few months for my branding. And I think that, I guess my biggest tip would just be to invest in a lighting kit, and especially if you're a food blogger. I have some food blogger friends that say they bought special dishes and all of that. I don't have specific photography tips, but I think that when we were talking about this before, you had said making it a sensual experience. And so I think like the more, especially with the sauce, making it feel like you can taste it. And, you know, so when you do the photography, not only making it look good, but making it like make your mouth water, making it tangible.
Absolutely.
What are your tips with it?
And I think here's the one thing that I think a few years ago we were all hypey on that white box look, right? So you get a lighting box and they're white, and your product photos are just in a really bright white background. I think we're moving away from that, and that has no experience, right? I mean, I just feel like that's a product shot that would be in a catalog. I think what you need to do when you have a tangible product is really stage things and create a setting. And because I used to sell tangible projects, I used to sell soy candles and wine bottle made out of wine bottles, and a lot of wine bottle type items like lanterns and stuff. And what we did was we created scenes like in our backyard or at the park, and things that we could very easily recreate every time we needed a photo session. And we did them batch style, so you know, we could shoot 10 candles this season, and if we had a new flavors next season. But you know, creating that experience, because again, ours was wine, ours was out, you know, outdoors, and a picnic and a barbecue, all of those things. So you want to create a setting, and you want to create something that you can recreate, so you're not having to figure out this photography. So you want to pay attention to things like, where's the lighting? You know what I mean? If you're doing something in your house, it's like, set up the lighting in a way that you can put tape marks on the floor, that you can measure it from the wall. I mean, seriously, it was the biggest pain in the ass to try every time I needed a new product shot to get everything out, get all the lights out. So do batch and stage it. So something like for Teresa, you know, stage it with some Italian trinkets and maybe an Italian flag. Get some Italian pottery or plates that you can use. You know, maybe put some herbs and stuff around it. Create that instead of a white box with your sauce in the middle. So make them more of that experience. Make them feel like, oh, damn, I want that sauce on my table. You know, so I agree with Daniela. And then the other thing that I wanted to touch on photography is your website. Okay, so you need a theme. When you have a tangible product, a theme that has very heavy photography on it. And I'm talking about a website theme. So I don't care if you use Squarespace, Wix, WordPress, I don't give a shit. But you need something that allows you to upload more photography. There are themes that are out there specifically for food brands, or are for even photography blogs, you know, that are typically created for a photographer, but you want that heaviness because you need to be showing that product, getting them familiar with it. It's the same thing as our logo, color palette, all that good branding guidelines. It's the same thing. They need to keep seeing your labels. They need to keep seeing your product. They need to keep seeing the packaging. You need to make them want it. And 90% of what our brain processes is visuals. So when you're selling a tangible product, you need to focus on highlighting that in photography. And that means that you need to make sure that your website has the backbone that it can support a very heavy photography type vibe opposed to more textual. So that's my photography, right?
When you were saying that, it made me think about the idea of storytelling again. Like when you're staging your photographs, before you do the photographs, you want to think, what story am I telling with these photos? Like, what's my brand story? And so staging them, for example, with a family sitting around the food, or like different family
or a
members
picnic.
holding it, or
a picnic.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Yeah. So
dead on. Yep, I agree. And that really segues us into the next part, which is storytelling. And I think, there's twofold. It's actually tell the story, in text, but don't make it a novel, because we're not reading a book. We're just trying to get the point of the brand. We're trying to get about what you're about, and use visuals to create the story. So that can be photography, and that can be anything from vector art, like icons and graphics and that sort of stuff. Use your labels. Again, if you're selling a food product like a sauce, like Teresa, you're obviously going to need to invest in product labeling and that sort of stuff. Make those things help you leverage those things to tell the story. So that really segued. So Teresa, for instance, like I said, I want her to make her website more of a story. She's got a heavy text homepage. And that's a little daunting. I need a quick story. And I think that whole, carrying on the dream of her immigrant father and carrying on her family legacy is so huge. So she needs to focus on paring back that, 18 paragraphs on the homepage and figure out, find a theme that's got a better photography selection, or a photography featured image abilities or capabilities, and then use that to create, photography in the background, and then maybe 1 to 2 sentences about, that this is carrying on the dream of her family and that sort of stuff. Very small amounts of text. You want to make sure you're telling a story, and you want that one sentence to be poignant enough that it gets 8 paragraphs across. So you need to think in terms of that. That's really, I feel like that's marketing, right? That's like, get your message across in the fastest, most poignant way. What do you think, Danielle?
I think in terms of the writing as well, being a lot more specific with wording, and since I'm the writing person, that's where I go to. So like on her homepage, she wrote, by naturally combining a few fresh quality ingredients. I want to know what those ingredients are. I want to hear, by using home farm grown tomatoes and, spicy garlic and, all of the specific foods. I think that would automatically make me more interested in it than saying a few ingredients. I want to know what they are. And then also using more sensory language, like, spicy or smooth or fresh, or I don't know, just bringing me into the experience with your language. Because I do think that the photos can do a lot, but I think about when I go to a restaurant, for example, and certain restaurants, you read the menu and you're just like, I want to eat every single thing on this menu because of how they're described.
Right? I thought that was just me. Exactly.
I want that job to be a menu writer because it seems so fun. But
I know.
Like maybe she could go to a few restaurants and read the menus and analyze it and say, why do I want to eat this? And then write about
That's
herself
a great idea.
in that way, because I can't taste the sauce, as I said before. So give me that taste with your language as well.
That's such a good tip. I love that restaurant one. And the other thing is, I would love to know, who's cooking it? Where is it cooked? Where did the recipe come from? Like, is this like her grandfather's, secret family recipes? Like, talk more about those things. Like, who's cooking it? Like, when I get this jar, where was it cooked? Like, I love, like, is this cooked in your home? Like, your kitchen? Is this cooked in a little kitchen that you bought in a city? Like, describe to me what the process is. And I'm guessing it is more of a family run thing. So, capitalize on that. And like Daniela said, do research from menus or other Italian restaurants, and see how, a lot of Italian restaurants, they tell that family story. See what they're doing and use all that language that Daniela said. I love that. All right, so let's talk about some paths to explore. So in other words, create paths to different elements of your content so that visitors can easily and immediately find what they're looking for. So Teresa, she's got where she's selling her sauce, but she blogs about obviously Italian recipes. And then she has a couple different components and topics that she talks about. So I want to see her make clearer portals to those different things. So if I go on her site and I want to read the recipes that should use the sauce that she's selling, then create that so I can find recipes right away. If if you have a cooking video, that would be another great thing to add. I don't think she has any of that, but make a quick cooking video where show people how to make pasta correctly, because it drives me nuts. You'd be surprised how many people don't know how to cook pasta. But then so create a portal where you can have your video tutorials. Make it so that a visitor can get to what they want very easily. And like I said, her theme and the way she has her website set up right now, it's more of a lengthy read than a path to deeper exploration and deeper and deeper. And I think you have to focus on that really regardless if you're selling tangible or digital products. But that's an area that I think Teresa needs to work on, and that a lot of brands need to work on, is creating the paths. You should be creating how your user is navigating your site. I mean, a website is not to throw shit up and put what you do up. You actually, this is why a real web designer and a brand, stylist or shepherd like Dan Krass, that's what it's about. We work on controlling the way that a user would navigate your site so that we can take them through our products. We can take them from the story to all the valuable free content to the sales. Okay, so think of your website the same way you would think about an autoresponder, right? You don't pitch it right away. You send some valuable emails, you work them up to it, you help them understand what this product or service is about. Same thing should happen on your website. Do you have any thoughts on that, Daniela?
Yeah, I think in terms of the recipes as well, organizing them so that you can find specific, well, for her specific one, and then I can talk about it more generally, organizing it so that, like right now, if I click on the recipes button, it just shows all of the recipes. I can't search for, seafood recipes or lasagna recipes or whatever it may be. So organizing that. And I do think that thinking about it from a user's perspective and saying, well, what is this person going to do first when they come to the site? And, I know we're going to talk about the email list later, but that's one thing, like having a specific action, like what's the one action that you want someone to take, and then organizing it around that. Yep. But I think you put it great.
Exactly. So, you should know what that goal is. Absolutely. Like, is it that you want them to check out your recipes? Is it that you want them to read your story? What is the goal? And then what's the next goal? Once they read the story, what's the next goal? So on the page that they have the story, whether that's the home page or your about page, that should have links or an ability to go to the next step of the exploration. And you need to control the way the user is navigating. It doesn't mean that they will always do it that way. People land on all different pages from our promotions, but make no mistake that web design is not about making shit pretty. It's about controlling and providing a fantastic user experience. So no matter what you sell, focus on that and create a path for them.
And just one more thing about the recipe. I was just looking through them a little bit, and I don't see any buy the sauce buttons. I feel like if you if your goal is for them to buy your sauce and your recipes are about the sauce, have a button right there to make it easy for them to purchase it. So just make it really easy for people to buy from you. So
definitely
what you were saying.
Perfect. Yep. All right, so let's talk about ways that she can get her name out there, since that is her real struggle right now. And I know you have my list of stuff, Daniela, but pipe in because I know you have more ways. So I'm just going to run through a couple fun ways. So find some pairings, right? And so this is all going to be specifically for Teresa, but think about this in terms of your products, right? So Diane, what can you pair with your invitations and your signs and that sort of stuff? All right, so for Teresa, she can find some fun pairings, right? So we know I'm a wine girl, yes please. What red wine? What type of, what's your favorite Pinot to pair with this sauce? This tomato sauce, and then this white sauce. Like, do fun pairings, do weekly meal plans, or a month worth of Sunday dinners, or the a picnic, a romantic picnic, and, get cheeses and this and that, and dip the sauce in some bread, dip some bread in some sauce, create different pairings. And what this helps you to get your name out there is then let the people know that you featured in those pairings. So for instance, if you chose a Pinot that you love to pair with this red sauce or the spaghetti dish, let that winery know. Let that brand know. Maybe you pair them with recipes from other brands. Well, guess what? Let that know that brand, you featured them. This is the same thing that happens with blogger outreach, that happens with roundup posts, that all successful brands are doing right now. They're not in this silo where it's like they're all by themselves, right? Mm-hmm. They're isolated. No, I don't give a shit what you sell or what your brand's about. You should be connecting with the people that are applicable to your brand. And for Teresa, that doesn't mean other sauce brands necessarily. There are a million things to pair with her sauces. So she can go with the wine, the cheese. She can go with meal plans. Tons of ideas, and use those pairing things to build relationships with other brands. So if somebody's selling wine or they're selling cheese, well, guess what? That really goes with sauce. And then as soon as you build a relationship, you can explore different collaborations and different ways that you can leverage the other's audience, because your brands, so seamlessly blend together, and one client that wants one or one customer that wants one is probably the same type of customer that may want the other. So use those fun ways to add value for your readers, but help you build relationships with other bloggers, which will get you exposure with their people.
I think too, maybe sending out some of the sauce to some more popular Italian food bloggers and saying, I want you to try my sauce for free. And, you could even pay them to do some sponsored posts just to try out your sauce and get your name out there before. If you don't have a big audience and you have a product, sending it to people who their audience might be interested in your product is always a great idea as well. And then I was thinking too, with pairings, this is a little bit different, but she could find some Italian travel bloggers, and she could, write about the different regions of Italy, or, give links to their blog with more and say, this sauce uses ingredients from this region. And so I think there's a lot of different pairings that she could do with her sauce.
Definitely. Yeah. And think about this also in terms of you have more content to repurpose and promote across, your email list and social profiles, rather than constantly just promoting and pitching your sauce. Mm-hmm. You now have, create different images or infographics and different videos and different visuals that you can then share on social media. Half the battle of getting exposure is getting more of your shit floating out there. And so many, especially Pinterest will be great for her, and pins live on for decades. They're not, this isn't a one and done. A lot of Facebook and Twitter might be, but something like Pinterest, get that pin up there, create different pins, different photography, even just, a branded image that you don't even need to use with photography, and share these different kinds of pairings and ideas that we're giving you. So you have more stuff pointing back to your website and more ways for people to search for you, find you, and fall in love with you.
Yeah. And the other idea that I've known some food bloggers that's really helped some food bloggers is to get into those food blogger networks. There's some Facebook groups. There's a lot of Facebook groups for food bloggers where you share each other's recipes on Yumly. and you
Yep.
share different things. So I think that even though we're talking about physical products, no matter what your product is, you do have a specific niche. And so if she can find those people that she can help and that can help her and build those relationships, like you were saying, I think that that could be really helpful for her to get her name out there.
Definitely. And I feel like for her and for any product, think outside the box. I mean, don't pigeonhole yourself to I sell sauce, so everything has to be sauce. I sell invitations, everything has to be invitations. Well, what are those other people using and buying? Because they're not just buying the one thing you sell. Think outside the box and figure out the different ways. Like Daniela just said, figure out groups that are about Italian family or Italian culture. Find groups that are about food in general, food bloggers. Find ones that are about, wine. Like I said, think outside the box, get farther than your brand. And I think that's a huge thing that's going to open up so many possibilities. Instead of constantly just blogging about your own stuff, start creating this content that you can share with other people, and that's not so me.
Yeah, I think too with social media, having a specific brand strategy where you can use humor or storytelling or something like that. Like I was saying in the beginning, if you think about Geico ads, they have nothing to do with insurance. Or like Subaru ads have these cute golden retrievers in them, and I have a Subaru and I have a golden doodle, so I'm kind of into that. So I think like creating a concept around your brand that might not even have to do with the sauce, but it's something that makes you recognizable. Like maybe with each picture of the sauce, you teach a different Italian phrase, like please pass the pasta, or I don't know. Or you could pair sauces with different family members. If it's a family brand, you could have, click here for Grandpa. I'm going to tell Italian name on the spot, but think of Grandpa Anthony's, or click here for Grandpa Anthony's favorite recipe. And then, you have a picture of him with holding the sauce, or I don't know, just having some kind of concept that your images are wrapped around instead of just showing the sauce in different recipes. That's great. But what if you could create a completely original and different way to brand yourself? Like, Dre, you have the branded solopreneur. That's different from any other branding person I've seen out there. So I think it's important to think about that with social media and also with your website itself.
Yeah, I agree. And I like what you said, because I was going to say about the grandparents, like Italian grandmas are like the spiciest, sassiest damn things in the world. Like have grandma or create some character where it's like grandma just kind of said, this is grandma's one-liner for the day, or grandma's like favorite word, or totally, like I think you nailed it on that. Capitalize on the kind of stereotypical family or the humor in your family or just the way an Italian family rolls, and so think that's what we mean by think outside the box. Don't get stuck in like, this is the sauce, what do I have to do to peddle the sauce? You want to like almost go around, find every avenue that can lead to the sauce, but you don't lead with the sauce, it leads to the sauce. So get creative out there. All right, so the last talking point is list building. I think that's going to be huge, and that's especially huge for products for tangible products, because you can really get repeat buyers, right? I mean, we sell a course, we're only going to sell one course. I mean, we might create other courses and that sort of stuff. But when it comes to products, I mean, a sauce that's used in one dinner, one sitting, you have the potential as a tangible product, and not all, right? If you're selling like a exercise equipment or something like that, but you have the ability to create repeat buyers and to really create these loyal brand ambassadors that again are going to help you get your name out there, because they're going to talk about how epic your sauce is or how epic your product is. So I think Teresa and every brand should be focusing on list building. Specifically for Teresa, again, the same things as pairings. I mean, she can create so many guides about like I said, 1 month's worth of family dinner, Sunday family dinner.
Mm-hmm.
She can, the pairing guide to, spaghetti sauces. She can create so much. She can create an infographic of like the 5 different kinds of sauces or the 5 different kinds of tomatoes, or there is so much shit she has the potential to create. That's going to be so valuable, and share some really great information, and she can have that as her opt-in incentive and get people on that list, start sharing more of those pairings and the things we talked about of the additional content, and then share her sauces. So what are your thoughts on the list building?
Yeah. I feel like with physical product sellers, they have a unique opportunity to offer discount codes to their products. And I don't know what you think about discounting, but I know that I've liked certain Facebook pages or joined certain lists because they say, get on my email list to get 15% off of the first jar of sauce. And if someone eats the sauce and they love it, they're probably going to buy more. So that's a way of getting them a taste of the sauce at a discount.
Yep.
So I think as information sellers, we always think about, like an ebook or a recipe or some kind of information. But I think those are awesome ideas as well. And she could also offer, a discount code for signing up, and she can do like limited time discount codes too to increase the urgency. So I think
she can do a rewards program, there. Some kind of points or the buy 2 get 1 free coupon. You're absolutely right. There's ways to do this on the tangible side that you don't even need to create, some kind of guide or anything. Discounts are huge, and especially for something like a sauce or something more inexpensive like Diane's invitations and signs and those sort of things. They're not $100 purchases. They're usually under a $20 price point, which means repeat buyers is hugely important. I mean, someone buying your sauce once, okay, great. We're all going to celebrate one sale. Don't get me wrong. But somebody who comes back and buys it every week or every month, and somebody who shares it in their mommy circle because they're like, oh, you made this fucking sauce. You want that. So definitely, I don't care what you're selling, start building a list. And so think about what that initial opt-in offer is, and then as you go, start creating more, so again you have more avenues for people to opt into your list. But I think that is like a ton of stuff that we've given you on selling a tangible product from a marketing and branding aspect. We talked about the visuals, we talked about the experience, we talked about incentives, we gave you ways to get your name out there and different creative ideas. So like I said, we're talking about Teresa sauce, but all of this is applicable to tangible products. So think about it in terms of what you're selling or what you want to sell, and use the principles and ideas that we've shared with you to get shit done. So I would love to have Dan and whoever else wants to specifically share some ideas or talk about the tangible product. So why don't we hang out for a couple minutes if anyone wants to jump on and share some ideas. Yay! Here comes Dan. He is the product man. So maybe he can share some on the branding stuff. I would love to hear what Dan says.
Howdy.
What's up, Dan?
Hi, Dan.
How you doing?
There he is, ginger beard and all. You get spaghetti sauce stuck in that thing all the time, don't you?
Problem. I've always said that if you're going to be a friend with a bearded person, it's your responsibility as that friend to tell the bearded person that they have something in their beard.
Oh, I'm all over that. I'm like, dude, I think you forgot the chip at lunch. It's sticking out right there.
I'm constant.
So what's up? Do you have any gems for us? I know that this is so your jam. This is exactly what you do. So share any and all that you're willing to share.
Okay. I have a couple things. I'm just going to be kind of shotgun about this. First of all, you guys gave really good advice. I don't really have anything to swat down or anything like that. This is all addendum. So in terms of photography, I put a link in the comments.
I saw that.
There's a product called Cube, and it's a small foldable. It folds down to one of those sun blocking things you put in your car. The windshield kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. Yeah, and I'm putting the link back in the comments because it got kind of buried. So yes, Easy Cube.
So
yep, it's collapsible, right?
And they used to ship you the large one, which is what I have, but then they also give you a tiny one you can kind of take on the road with you. I think they come with a reflector and then 2 lights that use lighting. And the reason why that one is so good is that when you're shooting product photography, especially jars and hard containers and things like that, your number one problem is going to be reflection. And you're going to get reflection from your lighting onto the structure. So what you need is diffuse lighting. And so you have that cube to filter the light through to give soft light, shoot it, make sure you have Photoshop or Pixelmate or something where you can go back in and adjust your levels so you can get your brightness and contrast adjusted. And just as a heads up, you're going to shoot photos that look probably too dark, and that's fine. The information in the photo, it's in post where you're going to get the best shots.
Yeah.
If you go to one of our clients has been with us the longest is Dinovite, and Dinovite.com in their product section, every product in that store has been shot by yours truly. And
okay, I'm going to put that link in. Is it D-I-N-O-V-I-T?
Yep, Dinovite. D-I-N-O-V-I-T.
Gotcha. Okay, check that out, you guys, because this is what he's talking about. You shot it with this Easy Cube.
Yes, shot it with a Canon T3i using the Easy Cube, and it's now down to just a process where I know exactly how to shoot these things. But you'll notice that there's a variety of structures. We've got tubes, we've got bags, we've got all these different things that are just you're going to catch light, and that's the most frustrating thing for a product maker when they get to that digital shelf that they have really bad imagery. The other thing about the path to purchase is that typically if you've done your SEO work and you've got someone coming to your website because they found sauces or anything like that, when working with a tangible product, the path to purchase is a little different. People are typically coming to the website with a motivation to buy. First and foremost, get them to the product, and then reinforce that decision with content. But it's a little bit backwards. People usually, and you can think about your own habits too, collectively, but more often people have done their research and they're finding, either through social or friends and stuff like that. By the time they get to your product page, they're ready to investigate at least pricing or look at actually adding to cart. So I always like to put some kind of product right on the homepage if at all possible, or give people just a really direct single-click path to that landing page to buy.
I agree. And that's kind of what I was talking about with the shopping cart too. You want it to be really straightforward, easy to check out and get their shit. Otherwise, you're going to lose them. That's
right. That's right. And then the third thing that I thought about is more on something you led off with, which is the key difference when selling a tangible is that you, the business owner, you, the entrepreneur, have to factor in your cost of business in terms of the logistics of shipping. I was working with a cheesemaker, a fresh cheesemaker, artisanal cheese and veggies from Latin America, and we had to really think through that process because let's say someone in California ordered some of his cheese. Well, it's fresh cheese. This is not aged cheese. So it has to be sent and delivered within 1 day, maybe 2 tops, because this thing is going to spoil. You have to think about refrigerated shipping. You have to think about all these different variables. And that's all nice and good, but then you have to then work with a developer or web creator to actually set up your WooCommerce, buy the right plugin that has all those configurations, and then you've got to set up a FedEx and a UPS and a USPS account, get those factored in, and then, oh, by the way, have your table set up so you're figuring out all this stuff so you don't end up with these extra costs eating into your margins. Because
I was going to say shipping is like the biggest margin killer there is. I still like I don't know how Zappos and places do it. There's like always free shipping and free returns.
Yeah.
I'm like, how the hell is your bottom line still working out for you? Because like I said, I sold tangible products, and the fucking shipping just would piss me off because I'm like, dude, you are just getting into my margin right here.
Yeah.
But you're right, you have to work that out. And also the other thing was the packaging, and I don't mean like the product packaging, but the shipping packaging.
Yep.
You got to make sure you have the right boxes, the right packing materials, and that it's not adding another 2 pounds, because that's more money out of your pocket.
Air is the biggest enemy right now. I'm actually talking with an account, hopefully a new account of ours soon that makes yogurt gummies, and they're getting ready to. We're going to maybe create a point of purchase display inside stores to sell these delicious looking yogurt gummies. And
nice.
The big thing is about the design for this point of purchase display is air. How can we design it with the least amount of air? Mm. And that comes back to bite people, is that if you've got the wrong box to ship your widgets and there's too much air in there, you're paying for the air. FedEx wants every square centimeter of their trucks accounted for. That's their business model, and it's on you. Factor all that in to determine if what's worth it. So like Uline is a great resource to get your shipping stuff. They have everything under the sun you would ever need for shipping. I'm
going to put that in because, that's exactly who I used. And they come in bulk, so it's a whole lot cheaper. I mean, going to the post office and getting all that stuff, it's not really the way to go. I love that. So I put Uline in there. I'm also going to put the brand Shepherd because you need to check out brand Shepherd. Did you already do it?
When you're like you're starting out and you're like with the sauce, for example, the jars cost her probably a lot more than they will a much bigger sauce producer. So what do you think about that when, it's kind of like a double-edged sword because you're new, so you're not having as many sales, but then you have to actually charge more. How do you deal with that?
If it were me, I would get on LinkedIn and start hunting for a structure broker who can deal in small batches from China, because China is going to give you the best possible structure pricing, especially for glassware. And what people don't realize when they're getting into this is that you buy the jars separately from the tops. So you got to go and find your jar source, and then hopefully that seller sells the same kind of tops. And normally they do, but when you get into plastics, rigid structures, you encounter this a lot where you could have the same container, but then you can get into different tops and determine that. So if it were me, I would probably look for either a China importer or someone that might have some leftovers, some excess leftover from an order they're not using, stuff like that.
I like this question, Dan, asking, I use Uline too, but how in the world do you describe corrugated box in a sexy way? That's a $64,000 question, Dan. I don't have an answer for you. Maybe just put it in a sexy font. No idea on that, but love that, Dan. And pop on if you want to. Otherwise, I think we're going to wrap. Thank you so much for coming on, Dan, because seriously, you are the man, and he has pivoted his entire business to being the product man.
That's the goal. Yeah.
Seriously, check out brandshepherd.com to find Dan and see all the amazing work he does on the product side, because you do everything from packaging to the brand identities. You are in photography now, video.
Well, that's just it. Products are needy. Products need all the above.
Yes.
And that's why I love tangibles, because there's nothing like walking into Target and seeing something I helped bring to market. You know what I mean?
Right.
I love that feeling of going into a store and saying, I know not only did I have a part in that, but I know the people behind that product. I know the people who ship it. I know the people who that do the sales marketing. Just like there's a lot of people power that go into just one product. That's why I like it so much. Yeah,
and you're so right. I would geek the hell out. I would just sit in the aisle and just wait for people to pick it up. And I'd be like, that's what I did. I designed that.
That's what I did.
I was totally.
I went to Lowe's and I saw, oh my gosh, that's a Rotozip saw drill that I helped create. I was just blown away by it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Talk about a geeked out moment.
Yeah.
That shit's awesome. All right, everybody. What is our topic next week, Daniela?
See you.
Bye, Dan. Thank you so much.
I'm drawing a blank, but let me look it up. Thank you so much, Dan. One sec. Sorry.
But we will be back next week. Same time, same place. we'll shoot the actually. Yeah, go ahead and look because I don't know what it is. This was not prepared.
Yeah. Maybe everyone could share their favorite sauce brand when they're waiting or something. I actually learned how to make my own sauce that I love to
Look
make.
at you.
And I got this Italian cookbook with this really hot Italian guy in the front. And
so you don't want the grandpa, you want the Italian hottie.
Well, I don't know that I'm alone in that. What do you think?
That you want the hot guy?
Yeah, instead of the grandpa, you know? I don't think I'm the only one.
Because I love being a sassy senior citizen, should we just call them? No joke. On the way to the airport, this lady pulled in front of me, right? And I'm going to estimate she's like 70 or 80 years old. Pulled in front of me. I slammed on my brakes, and then she went back in her lane, so I passed. She flipped me off.
Wow.
But I'm like, I love that shit. I love a sassy senior citizen. Like, she straight up was like this. And even really like she folded fingers in. I was like, that is awesome. You just made my morning, bitch. Anyway, so
you should come to Miami. I'm sure you'll meet tons of those there.
Right? I'll just hang out. So, old people love me. So next week's title is...
next week is about what do you prioritize when building an online presence? And I think a lot of bloggers and business owners get so overwhelmed not knowing what to do first, second, third. And so we're going to be breaking that down for you guys.
Sweet. Sounds good. Yeah. So, what's to tackle first while you're building your brand? Same time, same place, next Tuesday, noon Pacific. We will see you then. Later, guys.
Bye, guys.